like your world's best possessed. It's full scream ahead. The Travel Channel's going ghost hunting. From haunted houses to Civil War spirits, it's a night to die for. Then, get ready to get scared stiff, because the Travel Channel's got the top spots to make your skin crawl. You're gonna watch your mummy. Most Haunted in America and World's Strangest Remains. Tomorrow starting at 9 on the Travel Channel. Let's get set.
Wouldn't it be terrific to fly to New York and go crazy Broadway style? You could go to Priceline.com for airfare and a hotel room, then take all the money you saved and meander through museums admiring priceless works of art, stay out all night with a bunch of downtown hipsters, then wake up at the crack of noon and meet a friend for brunch at Bluey's. And if some Broadway producer makes the musical version of your vacation, you'd remark, who knew not paying retail in New York would be so dramatic?
Everyone knows Santa Claus, but behind the magic is a massive global operation. This is Santa's Workshop 2001. We work with UPS to bring in raw materials, produce goods, wrapping paper, ground, overnight, international, you name it. Just this morning, I had a shipment of candy canes stuck in customs in Belgium. And one call to my UPS rep straightened the whole thing out. There have been instances where the naughty got toys and the nice got coal. But it's not going to happen on my watch.
Today at IBM.com, we're talking about the NetVista A21. It's a fully loaded, expandable, genuine IBM business computer.
Leon, what is with the outfit?
You want to see something really cool? Watch these phones. Folks, call the number on your screen now, and the A21 can be yours for not $12.99, not $9.99, but for the everyone has to be sold low price of just $7.99. Watch this phone. This bad daddy comes with an Intel Pentium 3 processor, 1 gigahertz, 64 megs of RAM, 20 gig hard drive, and preloaded top business software, all for just $7.99. 3, 2, 1, bingo. And if you call now, you'll not only get the A21 with the Intel Pentium 3 processor, but you can lease it and make no payments till 2002. You might want to pick that up. IBM.com. All right, now we are smoking. Call now. Operators are standing by, and these things are going fast.
You might want to go to the website.
Can I make the numbers flash on screen now?
Sunday night on the Travel Channel. Hit the jackpot. Starting at 8. Spin, roll, and win your way to living large in the world's best places to strike it rich. At 9, it's a gambler's heaven in a Caribbean paradise. Test your luck at Atlantis in the Bahamas. Then at 10, hit the tables at Sun City, South Africa. A wild resort where gambling isn't the only game in town. Travel Channel presents Sunday night starting at 8 on the Travel Channel.
Budweiser, the king of beers, is proud to bring you this community event. Saturday, September 8th, the mountain air will be filled with the sounds of the blues during the Music Mountain Blues Festival at Shaver Lake. Relax and enjoy the sounds of these blues artists. Enjoy great food. Gates open at 10:30 with the music continuing until 6 p.m. The Music Mountain Blues Festival, Saturday, September 8th at Shaver Lake. Call 82-BLUES for more information. Another exciting community event brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers, who reminds you to drink responsibly.
Take the next step to looking and feeling your best. Nancy's Boutique carries the largest supply of post-mastectomy products for all types of breast surgery. And there is always a certified mastectomy fitter available to help you, with no appointment necessary. Keep in mind, most products are covered by Medicare with a prescription. Come to Nancy's Boutique and return to a balanced lifestyle. For more information, contact Nancy's Boutique, 226-1714.
We reveal the curse of the Egyptian mummies. What happens if you disturb the tomb of a pharaoh? It's just one of Travel Channel's secrets. The curse of the Egyptian mummies. Tonight at 9 on the Travel Channel.
Parker and I have left Manaus heading for Peru. We're taking the jungle road into the highlands, hoping to cross the Andes. Not exactly a Sunday drive.
Mud everywhere, just everywhere. Okay, that'll do us. Well, I tell you what, that's the last of the shock absorbers. We can't have any more trouble now.
Finished. I don't do it, both of them away.
What's gonna be next?
Our trailer seems to be jinxed. Up ahead is Rio Bronco, but before that, over 200 miles of absolute hell. Just when it looked like we were on our way, the Jeep falls apart. The lug nuts just snapped off. With no way to repair the wheel, we've no choice but to unload the trailer and leave it behind. I can't afford to be too materialistic, I tell you.
Here it goes. Some lucky find for somebody. I mean, that trailer cost us quite a few opals.
I always start off with all these luxuries, but I always end up the same way, with nothing. Of course, our road was becoming progressively worse. It's a really depressing sight up ahead, but I kind of feel good. We've got some company now. I kind of feel like we're not the only ones bogged down. One of the fellas has a tow rope called a snap strap, which, when the clutch is dropped, acts like a whip to jerk a stuck vehicle out of the mud. In our case, all we needed was a good steady pull. If this is the main road, I'd hate to see the back route. This could be the end of our Jeep. The electronic ignition system has had it. So we load it onto a truck and head back 120 miles to Portobello. We spent 4 days pushing along this impossible road, only to turn around and head back. One of the great things about Paco is that he's a great guy all around. But the best thing about him is that he speaks the local language, Portuguese. That got us out of a lot of trouble. He can hustle around town for the Jeep parts and get a good price. We couldn't find any Jeep parts, so we get with a so-called mechanic who converts an ignition system from another vehicle.
Vem, sempre para cá, sempre, mais pouco, mais.
Upriver, there's a gold dredging operation that Paco knows about, and he suggests that we take a little detour and have a look. This guy here is hitching a ride. Three hours later, we find a community of gold miners. Paco is nearly blinded when the local storekeeper opens his mouth to speak. Every tooth is capped with gold. The dredging operation is run by Americans, and it all happens in the middle of the river where the currents run at 25 knots. Now, this is really like the Wild West, but it's all underwater. There are guys down there looking for gold, and if one finds something, the other guy gets wind of it quick. Instead of cutting his throat for the gold, he cuts his air supply. I mean, it's as black as a dog's guts down there. The mud, the murky water. These guys, they're either brave or crazy. A sluice box separates the gravel from the river bottom, letting you see flecks of gold. An enormous amount of wealth is taken from here, but the river takes its own payment in the form of one life every 2 weeks. This is what the locals call the horror stretch. The jungle comes right down to the road. I mean, you can't get off the road if you wanted to. Here's a guy up the road with his tanker full of gasoline. After this scrape up, it looks like he'll never get out of there. We're thinking that this might be the gas we have to get in the next town to be able to continue on. These roads are so bad and you can easily get depressed about it. But if you think about it, highways through here would mean that tens of thousands of acres of rainforest would be knocked down. And you know what that means? This is what the whole world is in an uproar about, trying to save the rainforest in South America. So, in a lot of ways, it's probably best to leave it like this. But it sure is hell on our Jeep. Thinking about it, if this was a major highway, the service stations all along it, there wouldn't be the slightest bit of interest for me to come through here. Look at Parker. He's been through sheer hell, and I know he gave up a really good job to come on this trip. I just wonder whether he's sorry. I'm not even going to ask him.
Oh, gee, we got one can of baked beans left.
Secret's out when the Travel Channel uncovers the curse of the Egyptian mummies.
Because he's still having problems with his foot.
Hey, quick, get a shot of that. Quick, up there in the tree.
Being out here like this is a great thrill for me. I'm traveling with an expedition and their mission is to catch a giant anaconda. I have a bit of a phobia about snakes. I'm glad I'm only filming this. I have no desire to get in there. I mean, this guy catches anacondas with his bare hands. On land, the humans may have the upper hand, but in the water, it's the snake.
Grattan believed that they had found the General Grant. However, Tarleton and Dearling were not convinced. They believed that the site was the shattered remains of a ship called the Anjou.
Because of this little brass plank that this is a plaster cast of, it came off a door. It's a door locker tag. It was screwed to a door, and when we found it, it had French writing on it. That proved to us that the very first shipwreck we found originally was that of the Anjou.
To support Dealing's claim, the Grattan site was full of metal, but this was more common in a type of ship built over 30 years later than the General Grant.
and its position did not correspond to the survivors' accounts or official records. In the panic, confusion, and fear, it is hard to imagine that anyone could have remembered exactly which of the hundreds of caves was the tomb of the General Grant. And over 100 years later, is the ship even likely to have remained where she sank?
The General Grant was made of steel and wood, and when it broke up over the few nights that it was stuck in the cave, this is after the survivors had left, the wood in that was still very, very buoyant. It hadn't been waterlogged. And the huge waves smashed the ship up to such an extent that huge chunks the size of half a house floated off and out to sea until the wood became waterlogged and then the lot sank. Hence why we've not found anything like spoons, knives and forks laying on the bottom. Broken glass. It's all missing. If it's floated out up to a mile, and it's possibly picked up the vortex of the water. We've got a current coming down south, and then as you get closer to the island, it carries on up north. And I believe it's where those two currents meet. It's floated up and down. That could be a 20 or 30 mile stretch of water that needs to be looked at.
In 1982, Charlton planned another expedition, but was again defeated by the weather. He and Dearling were not obsessed just by the idea of gold. They had found something that made them think they were at last close to finding the General Grant.
This item here is a lead sounding weight. It's a